99 Speed Rebirth, Outran Bolt to Football Glory. Welcome funds. Enjoy exclusive audiobook experiences right here. For full access to complete stories, visit my website or support me on Patreon, links are in the description. Episode 21 Bang Guonan's Promiscuous Deeds. Shi Xiaoyu turned his gaze to the booth where the girl was. This black-haired Asian girl has a delicate figure, wearing a pair of black leather boots, exuding the unique charm of Oriental beauties. No wonder it attracted two men to strike up a conversation. It's just that the atmosphere of these three people is a little bit wrong. The two men surrounded the girl, although there was no particularly loud verbal conflict between the three. But according to Shi Xiaoyu's observation, the girl's eyes were a little hazy, as if she was delirious. And the two men beside him had smirks on their faces, and kept pouring wine for the girl. One of the blonde men took out some white powder from his pocket while pouring wine. "No, there is a drug." Shi Xiaoyu slapped the table, his brows tightened, then he got up and walked towards the girl's booth. Veneto, who was drinking beer happily, saw Shi Xiaoyu get up and asked him, "Hey, where are you going?" Shi Xiaoyu turned around, pointed to the girl's booth and said to him, "There's a situation over there." Veneto looked at it for a while, disapproving. "What's the situation? Didn't those three people drink together?" He put down the beer, got up and patted Shi Xiaoyu on the shoulder. "Hey, man, take it easy. This is Italy, not Daxia. Beautiful girls come to the nightclub to drink, there are a few men around. It's normal to strike up a conversation." Quote. Shi Xiaoyu shook her head. That girl was bullied. "There seems to be something wrong with the wine they drink." Veneto shook his finger and laughed. "Impossible. This nightclub is the most famous nightclub in Lunza in the whole of Buddha. It is absolutely impossible to sell fake wine. There are many security guards inside, and they will guarantee the safety of every customer. Don't worry." After Veneto finished speaking, he leaned closer and whispered in Shi Xiaoyu's ear. "Did you see that Asian girl? Let me tell you, I've also taken a fancy to him, but there are nightclub rules. How about this, when the two men beside him are gone, how about we strike up a conversation together and see who can succeed? Let's make a bet, if I succeed, you will pay for my drink tonight." Quote. Veneto proudly shook his wine bottle in front of Shi Xiaoyu, as if he had a winning ticket in his hands. In fact, for professional players like Veneto and Shi Xiaoyu, a bottle of beer at €10 in a nightclub is not expensive. It's just that Veneto felt that Shi Xiaoyu was a bit reserved, so he deliberately teased him like this. Shi Xiaoyu didn't say a word, his face was solemn, and his eyes were fixed on the girl's booth. Just when the blonde man raised his head and was about to pass the wine glass to the girl, Shi Xiaoyu couldn't help shouting out, "Isn't that Li Yunghwan from Banguo?" Li Zhenwan's blonde hair was very long, covering his face, so that Shi Xiaoyu only realized now that the person who struck up a conversation with the girl was an acquaintance. Veneto also recognized Shi Xiaoyu's shout. "Ha ha 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 ha, isn't this the guy from Bang who is going to shit in the toilet just after training? Why is he here? What a coincidence. No wonder he posted that girl so close, they are both Asian, maybe they like each other." Veneto made some understatement, then returned to his seat and started drinking beer. But Shi Xiaoyu obviously saw the clue. At this moment, he had to act. Because he really can't bear to see a compatriot from Daxia being bullied by a fellow in Italy. Even if he doesn't know this girl, Shi Xiaoyu must help her escape. "Hey, what are you doing? Stop." While speaking Italian, Shi Xiaoyu walked quickly to the girl's booth. The two men on the deck were stunned for a moment and raised their heads. Now Shi Xiaoyu can see clearly. One of them is the blonde man from Banguo, Li Yunghwan. The other was a bald man, white European, about 40 years old. Li Zhenwan also recognized Shi Xiaoyu, and his eyes showed a fierce look. "Oh, why is it you again? What's the matter? It's none of your business if I drink here." Li Zhenwan glared at Shi Xiaoyu impatiently. The white man and Li Zhenwan muttered a few words, then stood up and said politely to Shi Xiaoyu, "Hello, Shi, I'm Li Zhenwan's manager, what can I do for you?" Li Yunghwan's manager. Shi Xiaoyu snorted softly from his nose, his expression was full of disdain. Sure enough, it's not that the whole family doesn't enter the same family, these two people really like each other. Hurry up and leave this waxier girl, hurry up. When Li Zhenwan heard this, he threw the cup on the table. "Shi Xiaoyu, what do you mean? You fight against me on the training ground, and you also want to pick on me in the nightclub. What's wrong with me?" Shi Xiaoyu snorted softly and said seriously, "You don't hinder me, but if you want to bully our waxier girls with drugs, I, Shi Xiaoyu, will be the first to say no." Episode 22 This slap makes you look like no one. The waxier girl's breath was weak, her hands trembling unceasingly. She looked at Shi Xiaoyu, as if she saw her savior. There was a deep cry for help in his eyes. "Please, help me." As if grasping at a straw, she kept begging Shi Xiaoyu. Shi Xiaoyu stared at her firmly, and comforted her. Don't worry, with me here, I won't let others take you away. When Shi Xiaoyu said this sentence, he first used huxia, and then deliberately repeated it loudly in English and Italian. Because of his loud voice, other people present turned their eyes. At this time, Veneto quickly drank the last sip of wine and ran to Shi Xiaoyu's side. Hey, what's going on? Didn't I tell you to obey the rules? You caused trouble the first time you came to a nightclub. Shit, I have to wipe your A*. Veneto thought that Shi Xiaoyu just liked the girl and didn't want other men to strike up a conversation, so he came over forcefully to drive away the two men around the girl. Although Veneto is physically strong, if you really want to fight, these two men in front of him are no match for him. But Veneto is like a mirror in his heart. He and Shi Xiaoyu are both signed players of the Fiorentina team. If they fight outside, they will be severely punished when they return to the team. When Veneto played in the first team before, the midfielder in the team, the old sage, the Peruvian player Pizarro, was because of being in a nightclub with people fighting, being sent to the first team by the head coach for 3 months to reflect. And that season, Pizarro unfortunately lost his main position. Therefore, the principle that Veneto upholds is, never take the initiative to cause trouble. Brothers, my friend is a bumpkin. It's the first time I come to a nightclub and I don't know the rules. I'm sorry if I disturb your drinking. Veneto put his strong arms around Shi Xiaoyu's neck, trying to pull him away by force. HMPH, there are still people who understand the rules, so I won't bother with you, shameless huxia man. The blonde man Li Zhenwan grumbled, sat back down again, and wanted to continue passing the glass of wine to the girl from Waxia Kingdom. The girl instinctively wanted to reach out and push the wine away, but her body was as soft as mud, and she couldn't exert any strength at all. And Li Yonghwan's wicked wine glass was already close to the girl's flaming red lips. He smiled lewdly, trying to forcefully drink the wine. Shi Xiaoyu knew that with the girl's current physical condition, if she were to drink this glass of wine again, she would be as drunk as mud and look like a dead body. By that time, the blonde man, Li Zhenwan, and his bald manager will take this huxia girl away. Think about what happened after that. Shi Xiaoyu didn't know where the strength came from, and with a wave of his forearm, he pushed away the arm that was supported by the Veneto wall around his neck. It was also with this force that Shi Xiaoyu kicked forward, flew in front of the blonde man, and looked down at him. What do you want to do? Li Zhenwan was a little flustered. Shi Xiaoyu's speed was extremely fast. With this step, Li Zhenwan's golden hair was messed up with a gust of wind. What do I want to do? I want to ask you, what do you want to do? Shi Xiaoyu was unceremonious, picked up the weakling Li Zhenwan by the collar of his clothes, and abruptly lifted him up. Snapped. He gave Li Yonghwan a big slap. This slap hits you with no one in your eyes. Li Zhenwan was stunned by the beating, his mouth grew wide, and his expression seemed to be stuffed into a pile of excrement. Hey, Mr. Shi, please keep calm, this is Italy, a place where the rule of law is spoken. Although Li Zhenwan's manager said so, he was obviously frightened by Shi Xiaoyu's aura. Take a few steps back and watch him from a distance. Todd, help me, I can't breathe. Li Zhenwan's neck was strangled by Shi Xiaoyu's tight grip on the collar, and he couldn't breathe. He begged to look at the strong manager Todd, wanting to seek his help. However, this Todd is also a bullying master. Shi Xiaoyu has shown that he is not a soft persimmon. Tony just wants to pinch, but there is nowhere to pinch. The conflict has already attracted the attention of many onlookers, and everyone gathered together, discussing a lot. And the surrounding security guards also came over, frowning, staring at them. These security guards are big and round, with indifferent eyes, wearing standard uniforms, and they are the ones who can fight. Todd naturally knew that he had changed with Li Sheng and drugged the Asian girl's drink. When the security guards surrounded him, he was afraid that his crimes would be exposed, so he immediately smeared oil on the soles of his feet and slipped away while no one was looking. Episode 23 Lifting a rock to shoot yourself in the foot. I'll go, Todd, I know you're unreliable. Li Zhenwan couldn't help being furious when his manager left him to run away alone. In fact, Todd ran away by himself, which was also expected. The relationship between the two of them was originally a purely interest relationship, and they were not close friends. It is normal to fly separately in the face of disaster. Losing a Li Yonghwan, Agent Todd will sign more players. What's more, Li Yonghwan is not a star player. Even if Todd manages him to join Fiorentina, he will not get much agency fees. But if he was caught by the police for drugging a woman, it would ruin his career as a manager. Todd's account can be settled very clearly. In fact, Li Yonghwan was also tricked by Todd. Shi Xiaoyu was brought to the bar by Veneto, and Li Yonghwan was brought by his manager Todd. It was Todd's idea to drug the girls of Waxia Kingdom. It's just that he didn't want to do it himself, but asked Li Zhenwan to do the dirty things on his behalf. The poor golden retriever of Banguo was taken advantage of like this. Li Zhenwan thrashed his limbs in Shi Xiaoyu's hands, cursing, but Shi Xiaoyu, no matter how hard she struggled, just held him tightly, and never let go. Gentlemen, what happened? A few burly security guards came over, their tone calm and majestic. Seeing that the conflict was about to escalate, Veneto was sweating profusely at this time, and he shouted anxiously to Shi Xiaoyu. Easy, take it easy. Didn't you see all the big guys in the store coming? Shi, let me go. Shi Xiaoyu looked at the waxier girl beside her. She was already a little sober, able to sit up by herself, and drank a few mouthfuls of the mineral water she carried. Only then did Shi Xiaoyu let go of Li Zhenwan, and pushed him to the security guard beside him. This guy is plotting to do something wrong, trying to drug this girl's drink. Shi Xiaoyu's Italian is sonorous and forceful, with every word sounding. The onlookers at the scene suddenly sighed. Let me just say, look at that Asian girl, there seems to be something wrong with her eyes. Yeah, it doesn't look like you're drunk, but it really looks like you've been drugged. Where did that bald man just now go? He looks like a dog in his clothes, and looks like a treacherous man. He's still wearing a wedding ring. He actually did such bad things to a girl as old as his own daughter. I think this blonde man is even more wretched. This is the most formal nightclub in Florence. If the golden retriever is drugged, he will definitely be beaten up by the security guards here. Now there's a good show to watch. Brothers, hurry up and take pictures. Catcher, catcher, catcher. The onlookers took out their mobile phones one after another, and the camera was shining brightly in the somewhat dim nightclub environment. Venito's eyes widened at this time, showing an expression of disbelief. Are you sure they really drugged it? Shi Xiaoyu nodded with firm eyes. Security personnel, please check this yellow fur pocket. What is that bag of white powder? Several security personnel understood and searched immediately, and found a small bag containing white fine powder. The leader touched the powder with his fingers and put it under his nose, sniffed it lightly, and then frowned. He made eye contact with the rest of the people, and the security personnel immediately understood what happened. Hey, golden retriever, tell me the truth, what is this powder? When Li Zhenwan was questioned by the security personnel, he was sweating profusely, trembling, and couldn't even stand still. This is a bag of flour. He still wanted to lie and justify himself in stumbling Italian. The mobile phone cameras of the onlookers pointed at him one after another. Ha ha ha, who are you kidding? Come to the bar to drink and bring a bag of flour. Do you think this is your mother's kitchen, with flour? Do you want to make bread? I have a suggestion, since you said it was flour, why don't you just eat this bag of flour? Good idea, good idea. Let him eat this bag of flour. Let him eat, let him eat. As the saying goes, it's not a big deal to watch the excitement, and under the booing of everyone, several security personnel have come to enjoy it. Boy, since you said it's flour, you should eat it. The security personnel poured the flour into the wine glass, stirred it evenly with their thick fingers, and handed it to him. Drink it, and if you're okay after drinking it, I'll let you go. Li Zhenwan looked at the full glass of wine, and suddenly felt apprehensive. Should I drink it or not? If you don't drink it, you are indirectly admitting that there is something wrong with this bag of powder. The security personnel must beat him up and teach him to report to the Italian police. If he drank such a large bag of drug, he might overdose and poison him to death. Unable to waver, Li Zhenwan simply gave up. Drink it, you agreed, let me go after I drink it. Li Zhenwan suffocated the wine in the glass in one gulp. Damn it, he really drank it, he really drank it. It's so fierce, he can really drink such a big bag of drugs, be careful not to let him pass out. Could it be that there is really flour in this? Did we blame him? Impossible, if it was really flour, he wouldn't hesitate so much. There was a lot of discussion. Shi Xiaoyu looked at Li Zhenwan with a playful face. Okay, let's start the countdown now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Before counting to 1, Li Zhenwan suddenly turned pale, and his body couldn't help turning in circles, like a spinning top. With a bang, it fell to the ground. The security guard kicked him without any response, but Li Yonghwan snored and slept like a dead pig. Okay, I understand. This kid did drug waxier girl. Brothers, send her to the police. Episode 24, World Soccer, Beauty Intern Reporter. With the assistance of the security team, the police quickly turned the blonde man Li Zhenwan to the police station. After a simple interrogation, Li Yonghwan, who was blah, confessed to his crimes. This wretched man in a great country will face strict sanctions under Italian law. And his career as a player has come to an end. Fortunately, waxier girls don't drink much drugs. Now he has regained his sanity. I really want to thank you this time. If it weren't for you, I would have been bullied by those two villains. The girl's name is Li Wen, and she is an intern football reporter from Daxia. She co-produced the World Soccer column in Daxia. This time, she followed the instructions of the station and came to Italy to collect program materials. Li Wen and Shi Xiaoyu strolled by the water bridge in Florence, the river water sparkling at night. You came to Italy to collect video footage, you should go to the stadium and training camp. How did you collect it in the nightclub? Shi Xiaoyu joked. Coco Li held onto the railing, looked at the rippling river, and let out a long sigh. Hey, don't mention it, it's because the work is hard to do, so I came to the nightclub to drink away my worries. Our column has a new chief producer, saying that the previous, World Soccer, is too old-fashioned and needs innovation to attract new audiences. The producer assigned me a task, let me come to Europe to collect the life experience of Huxia players playing in European leagues, and make a short film. But if you think about it, there are no players in our Waxia country playing in Europe now. It seems that only Zhang Chengdong is in the second division of the Bundesliga if the name is called out in my impression. Hearing this, Shi Xiaoyu couldn't help feeling sad. Just a few years ago, there were still many players from Waxia who were playing in the 5 major European leagues. Zheng Ji played well in Charlton, although Charlton became relegated after joining for 1 season. But in that season of the British Championship, Zheng Ji played more than 40 games as the core midfielder and contributed 10 goals. He was once selected by the famous British football magazine, 442, as the best team of the British Championship that season. At the same time, Sun Jahai also occupied a place on the right side of Manchester City. Not only was there a good show of heading the ball to the top, but in one game, he ran 40 meters back to the goal line to clear the siege, and staged a scene that made the head coach and the audience unbelievable. The reputation of the Huxia Sun has stayed in Manchester like this. There are also Xiao Jiayi, Fan Ziyi, Yang Chen. Although these Waxia players cannot be said to be the absolute main players and leading stars in the team. But he also took a place with his own strength, not only won the applause of the audience, the respect of the media, but also improved his own skills. Unexpectedly, in just a few years, the situation has changed dramatically. The players from Daxia have all left the 5 major leagues, and now there is only Zhang Chengdong, who can fight alone. But the Bundesliga does not have an official broadcast in Daxia, so when the fans of Daxia stay up late every week to watch the football, they can no longer see their own players galloping in the European arena. Shi Xiaoyu tried hard to search for all kinds of memories about the past life in her mind. As an old football fan who watches and plays football, he knows that the formation of this phenomenon is due to the relatively low level of youth training in Daxia on the one hand. After all, after a good player is out of gear, there is no one to replace him, and there will be a disconnected situation. On the other hand, 2012 is the first year of Waxia Guojinyuan football. This year, under the leadership of a club in the south of Waxia, the Waxia Football Super League set off a storm of gold dollars. Backed by a powerful major shareholder, the club has introduced foreign players with high transfer fees and sky-high salaries, occupying the main position of the team's offensive line. And the salaries of domestic players have also risen. In other words, the annual salary of a player who can play as the main player in the mid-range clubs of the Italian Serie A may not be as good as that of a substitute domestic player in the Daxia League. And the difference in level between the two players is more than just the difference in wages several times. This kind of abnormal situation makes the young players of Waxia Kingdom unwilling to go abroad to play football. After all, in Daxia, not only is it close to home, but you can also enjoy a high salary. Who wants to go overseas alone like a headless chicken? The careers of football players are very short, and they often face the decision to retire when they are in their 30s. In a limited career, it is a little bit to be able to earn a little bit. This is the true thinking of many Huxia professional football players. You're right, there are only so few players in our country studying abroad in Europe. How can there be enough material for your video? That's right, I think so too, but our director gave me this task, saying that if I don't collect the material, I won't be able to become a regular. I'm still an intern. I dream of staying in the World Football column. I really like watching this show. My dad has taken me to watch it since I was a child. Li Wen was wearing a black leather jacket, wrapped around her petite and soft body, looking very capable. Shi Xiaoyu looked at her depressed expression and patted Li Wen's shoulder. Look, isn't the material right in front of your eyes? Episode 25. My heart is only training. Ah, you mean, you also play in Europe? Li Wen looked at Shi Xiaoyu in surprise. In his eyes, Shi Xiaoyu's figure is not as strong as Shi Xiaoyu's handsome face. He doesn't look like a wild football player at all, but like a high school student who just graduated. Shi Xiaoyu smiled, and briefly told the ins and outs of how he came to play for the Fiorentina club. Coco Li opened her mouth in surprise after hearing this. In 2012, the internet was not as developed as it was 10 years later. At the same time, smartphones have only just become popular for all kinds of news, and the push has not reached the point where it is flying all over the sky. Therefore, the news that Shi Xiaoyu successfully signed with the Fiorentina club did not arouse heated discussions in Daxia. This is also due to Li Tong, the school team coach of the Waxia University team. He knows that it is not a good sign for a player to be exposed to the media spotlight too early. Especially in his opinion, a young player like Shi Xiaoyu is just an adult, and his mind is immature. If under the exaggeration and praise of the media, the hearts of young players are easy to swell, so they don't train hard, but indulge in various sensual places. So after Li Tong returned to Daxia, he did not exaggerate this matter to the media, in order to let Shi Xiaoyu play football in Italy quietly. It's incredible, this experience alone is enough for World Football to give a column report. But to be honest, I really admire you. You gave up your degree from Waxia University 4 years later, and you are alone overseas, working in such a big club. Shi Xiaoyu nodded. He understood what Li Wen was thinking. If you follow the steps by yourself, finish your 4-year undergraduate study at Waxia University, and then find a stable job after graduation. Although this kind of life is calm, it is also stable. But Shi Xiaoyu, who has been a human in 2 lives, has already experienced the boring life of 996 in his previous life. Now he is determined to realize his self-worth as a professional player. It's getting late, you go back to rest at 9 o'clock early. This is my phone number, I will write to you. If you have any needs for shooting materials, please contact me. Shi Xiaoyu left Li Wen's phone number and hurried back to the club. The night is dark, and we have to train tomorrow morning. In particular, the live football training system has been activated on him. According to the system, every time he completes a training session, he can get a bonus of 1 to 3 numerical points. There are still 7 days before the start of the next training session. He has to make good use of these 7 days to try to add 20 points to himself. When Shi Xiaoyu climbed into the wall in the dark and returned to the dormitory of the Florence club, Veneto sat on the bed early and waited for him. I'm going, why are you coming back now? I thought you weren't coming back. Veneto winked at Shi Xiaoyu. He thought that Shi Xiaoyu had already captured the heart of that Huxia girl, and the two of them might be living happily outside at this time. How can I not come back? I am a professional player, I have to train the next day. Veneto collapsed on the bed. Training, why do you keep thinking about training? There are still 7 days until summer training begins. If you ask me, it's a disadvantage for us to enter this training camp early. Think about it, the big brothers of the first team are still sunbathing on the beach in Spain, watching the beauties in bikinis alive. How about us, sitting in this dormitory, staring at each other? It's so boring. Veneto is a typical African player. In his opinion, life is short, and enjoyment in time is the true meaning of life. Perhaps in Veneto's mind, football is just a job, and the beauty of life is what he really needs to enjoy. Veneto, tell me seriously, do you still want to stay in the first team? First team, aren't we on the first team right now? Veneto replied with a smile. He knew that Shi Xiaoyu contributed to his re-promotion to the first team this time. If it weren't for Shi Xiaoyu's sharp breakthroughs and timely crosses in training, as a traditional standing center, how could he score so many goals? Shi Xiaoyu sternly said to Veneto. Don't forget, although you are in the first team now, you were sent to the second team by the coach before. If you don't train hard and only think about women and sex every day, you wonder if your condition declines, you will be sent to the second team again. Kick back to the reserve team. You are 1 year older than me, and you are almost 20 years old. If you have not gained a foothold in the first team, you may have disappeared from everyone. The career of a football player is very short. You have to cherish every day so that you can be worthy of your career. Veneto covered his ears with his hands, shaking exaggeratedly from side to side. I'll go. How old are you? How do you talk like a sports director? You always like to educate us young people. Oh, I know. Okay, listen to you. Let's go to training together tomorrow morning, shall we? Episode 26. Have you seen the training session at 5 o'clock in the morning? Ding 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 dong. At 5 o'clock in the morning, a crisp alarm bell rang. Veneto, who was sleeping soundly, seemed to have been hit with a stick, and sat up. Damn, who is so wicked, and it's still outside before dawn, beating the gong. Veneto gasped heavily. He looked out of the window, the sky was not even dim, and the black tree shadows fluctuated with the breeze. He had a good night's sleep last night, just in a dream, he was lingering with a blonde girl. At the critical moment, when the alarm bell rang suddenly, I was naturally very dissatisfied. He looked to his left, Shi Xiaoyu's bed, but it was empty. After washing, Shi Xiaoyu came out of the toilet. Veneto, are you awake? Veneto was stunned for a moment, looking at Shi Xiaoyu who had finished washing and even put on his football training uniform. He was confused. Are you woke up? Veneto, get up, the alarm clock just now is for you. I've finished washing, hurry up, we'll go to training right away. Veneto wailed for a while, fell out of bed and covered his head with the quilt. My God, who the hell is this roommate from Daxia, who wakes me up at 5 o'clock, is he crazy? Shi Xiaoyu ignored him, but opened the curtains with a bang. Frankie training base. The training base is full of oak trees. It was not yet dawn, and occasionally the sound of a few birds fluttering could be heard. The breeze brushed through the thick shadows of the trees, and with the already somewhat thin moonlight coming in, black shadows were cast on the ground. Veneto, let me ask you again, are you going to get up? I won't get up, I'm going to sleep. Shi Xiaoyu looked at the tall Veneto, curled up on the bed with the quilt in his arms, and couldn't help being a little funny. He opened the window. Although Florence has a Mediterranean climate, it is like spring all year round. But at 5 o'clock in the morning, before the sun came out, the wind outside was a bit cold. At this moment, the window was opened and a gust of cold wind blew into the house, and the shirtless Veneto shivered. Let me tell you, if you don't follow me to train, then don't expect me to pass the ball to you when you are trained in the summer. Poor Veneto, being blown by the cold wind, suddenly lost all sleep. Seeing Shi Xiaoyu threatening himself like this again, he could only sit up with a wry smile. Come on, my big star, can I accompany you to training? You must remember to pass the ball to me. If you don't pass the ball to me, I guess I haven't played for a few days, and I have to go back to the reserve team to report. At the Franchi training base in Florence at 5 o'clock in the morning, two people, one tall and one thin, strolled on the boulevard. Wearing the official training clothes of the Fiorentina club, they are walking towards the pitch. While kicking the leaves that were blown off last night, Veneto looked at Shi Xiaoyu hesitantly. Hey, at this time, the old man who opened the door hasn't gotten up yet, and the fence is locked. Do we have to go over the wall to the training ground? Shi Xiaoyu rolled his eyes. What? You can go over the wall to the nightclub, but you can't go over the wall to the training ground? If you are afraid, go back to sleep and don't follow me. Veneto made a grimace at the back of Shi Xiaoyu's head, followed him resentfully, and cursed in his heart. As long as you can be a hero, just practice like this. I think you can last for a few days. At this moment, Shi Xiaoyu and Veneto are the only two people walking on Franchi's training ground. The gates on the football field in the training ground are locked. In a small house next door lived the club's gatekeeper, Francisco. Although he only guards the gate for the club, Francisco has been working for the club for 40 years. At the age of 25, he inherited his father's business and entered the Fiorentina club to work. Counting his father, these two generations have dedicated 70 years of youth to Florence. In Italian clubs, there are many old club people who inherit their father's career like this. They contribute silently and work for a lifetime. Not just janitors, but cleaners, equipment caretakers, lawn maintainers, and more. Fans and the media often praise those players who came from the club's youth training, entered the first team, and then played until they retired, calling them one person, one city, and calling them the most loyal players in the world. As everyone knows, behind many clubs, there are ordinary people like Francesco who silently devote their entire lives to their youth. They are as worthy of praise as those players who only play for one team in their lives. In Francis's small room, although there was a weak light on, he was still sleeping soundly in his old age. Logically speaking, the training ground will not open until 9 o'clock at the earliest, and at this time the players of the first team have not returned to the team, so Francisco does not have much work to do. However, Shi Xiaoyu and Veneto had already climbed over the useless iron gate with great agility and entered the stadium. Veneto, it's a bit cold in the morning, why don't we warm up first? Okay, I'll listen to you. Shi Xiaoyu started jogging on the court. Let's run 15 laps to warm up. No way, 15 laps? This is 6 kilometers. Veneto's heart instantly became icy cold again. Episode 27 Get Training Rewards. They only ran 5 laps, and Veneto was out of breath. He gradually slowed down his pace. It was already late at night when the two came back last night, and they got up at 5 in the morning, so they didn't sleep for a few hours yesterday. As a stand-up center, Veneto doesn't usually pay attention to physical training. Now that he is tired, his physical fitness can't keep up. Hey, I told you to slow down, this is jogging, not asking you to go to the court to grab the ball. But Shi Xiaoyu didn't slow down her pace, she was still running at her own pace. Isn't Shi Xiaoyu tired? According to the live football template given to him by the system, his physical fitness is only in his early 60s. Although Shi Xiaoyu is a technical and speed player, such a physical data of 60 cannot be called outstanding even in Serie B. What's more, this season, he is going to play in Serie A. But unlike Veneto, Shi Xiaoyu has a strong yearning for professional football in his heart. This also shaped his firm will that is different from ordinary young players. The cold wind blew across his dry face, even accompanied by some light rain, his neckline was soaked by the rain, the sweat mixed with the rain, and his back was icy cold. But Shi Xiaoyu is like a stubborn bull, running harder and harder. Because in his heart, he kept silently chanting what the system said to him. Every time a training session is completed, there will be a numerical bonus of 1 to 3 points. This is the reason for supporting Shi Xiaoyu to run in the drizzle at the Florence training base at 5 o'clock in the morning. Veneto, grit your teeth and follow me, or I'll kick your A*. Shi Xiaoyu had already led Veneto for a full half lap, and he yelled at Veneto from the other side of the football field. Veneto turned his head and was about to be overtaken by Shi Xiaoyu. In order to prevent Shi Xiaoyu from kicking his *** from behind, he also gritted his teeth and increased his speed, chasing Shi Xiaoyu. Just chasing after each other, the two kept a distance of half a lap, and finally finished 15 laps. Veneto sat slumped on the track, took off his sneakers, his two stinky feet were steaming, and white smoke curled up. My God, I actually ran 15 laps on the training ground with a lunatic at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm also AF *** G lunatic. Veneto was panting heavily, his voice trembling because of the cold. Fortunately, Shiga has stopped. In Florence in the early morning, the first ray of sunshine shines on the football field. Veneto, didn't the coach tell you? You can't sit on the ground after exercising, it's not good for your heart. Shi Xiaoyu's face was covered with sweat, and he took out 2 new sets of training clothes from his backpack. We put on new clothes, rest for 10 minutes, and practice passing. The two put on new training clothes, and they felt much refreshed immediately. Shi Xiaoyu took out 2 more bananas from his backpack. Bananas can replenish energy for a period of time. While resting, Shi Xiaoyu looked towards the sky. The Italian sun is always so warm. The happy sunshine shone on him, making him feel his dignity and value as a professional player. Look, Veneto, the sun at 5 o'clock in the sky is so beautiful. Veneto muttered while eating a banana, I think it's more beautiful under the covers at 5 o'clock. Since the Fiorentina club's first-team players have not yet returned to their positions, the goalkeeper Francisco did not clean up the field too much. There are also a few first-team footballs scattered on the field for training. Shi Xiaoyu and Veneto, using the football on the field, began to practice 2-for-1 pass. When it comes to football training classes, Veneto knows a lot better than Shi Xiaoyu. Shi Xiaoyu had also experienced the same training in Waxia University's school team training class before. However, that is just training as an amateur handball player, not a standardized and systematic professional player training. But Veneto is different. He entered the youth training system of Florence at the age of 15 and received professional training. Shi, you can't practice like this, we have to run, and do 2 passes and 1 while running, you know? No, you have to imagine that there is a player standing between the 2 of us, and then we use him to do a 2-for-1. Pass the ball faster, imagine that player or come over and grab the ball, he's not a stake. Yes, that's it, very good. In the 2-over-1 training class, Veneto became Shi Xiaoyu's teacher instead, constantly correcting his technical movements and running methods. The two learn from each other's strengths, not only are good partners in the competition, but also become more and more tacit in each other's daily training sessions. Before you know it, 2 hours have passed. The sky in Florence has completely brightened. In the cloudless sky, the sun was shining brightly, and the two of them felt warm physically. Okay, let me rest for a while, I can't do it anymore. Even the training session of the first team is only from 10 o'clock to 11:30. Now the two of them practiced for 2 hours at a stretch, which really made Veneto very tired. Shi Xiaoyu was drinking a sports drink when the system's voice suddenly came to him. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing 2 training sessions. Physical value +3. The pass value is increased by 3. Shi Xiaoyu was pleasantly surprised to find that in this 2-hour training session, he gained 6 value points at once. I just watched the national football team play against Australia and was scored. Come on in the second half. Episode 28 Fierce competition within the team. It was almost 8 o'clock, and with the lazy sunshine, Francisco got up. As soon as he went out, he saw 2 people on the training ground. At first, he thought it was a thief on the training ground. After all, the first team has not returned yet, so who will come to train? It wasn't until he got closer that he realized that these 2 people were wearing the official training uniforms of the team. One of them still knew Veneto, but he didn't know Xiaoyu. Hey, what are you 2 doing here? Francisco, a jazzy old man, watched the 2 young men curiously. Veneto stepped forward. My dear old father, we are training. Let me introduce you, old man, this is Shi Xiaoyu who was just promoted from the reserve team. You don't know him yet, do you? Shi Xiaoyu stepped forward, hugged Francis and greeted each other. Oh, not bad, it's only 8 o'clock and you're here for training, young people should be motivated, it's worth commending. Shi Xiaoyu smiled slightly. Mr. Francisco, in fact, we arrived at the training ground at 5 o'clock, and we have been training for more than 2 hours at this time. What has been training for 2 hours? Francisco stared in disbelief. In his 40 years at the Fiorentina club, he has seen quite a few hard-working players, but never one who came to training at 5 o'clock. Veneto smiled and said, we have been training for 2 hours, Mr. Francisco, please leave us alone, go back to your bed and rest. Ha, good, I hope you can persevere, and bless you. What a lovely boy. Francisco felt that these two people might not have recovered from the joy of being promoted to the first team from the reserve team, so they trained like crazy on the first day. But what he didn't expect was, the next day, before 6 o'clock in the morning, he could hear it in his sleepy sleep, someone climbed over the wall and entered the training ground. Francisco was greatly moved. He specially assigned a key to the two of them, so that Shi Xiaoyu and Benito would not have to climb over the wall to enter the training ground in the early morning. After 7 days, Shi Xiaoyu's passing value and stamina value have undergone earth-shaking changes. What surprised him even more was that although he and Wen Yichuo mainly practiced running and 1-2 pass, other values also increased accordingly. The values are as follows. Shi Xiaoyu. Height, 1.78 meters. Weight, 67 kilograms. Age, 18. Speed, 99. Strength, 70. Stamina, 82. Shots, 68 passes, 91 dribbles, 80. Balance, 70. Vision, 62. Bounce, 54. Overall evaluation, Serie A level. After hard training, Shi Xiaoyu was finally promoted to a Serie A player in 7 days. Benito, who trained with Shi Xiaoyu, has also greatly improved his mental outlook in the past 7 days. The cooperation between him and Shi Xiaoyu has become more and more tacit, and the two are inseparable no matter on the training field or in life off the field, and have become close friends. After 7 days, summer training officially begins. Coach Montella and other first-team players have arrived at the training base. On the first morning, before the training started, Shi Xiaoyu's cell phone rang. "It's Xiaoyu, do you remember me? I'm Li Wen, a reporter from the World Football column." Shi Xiaoyu has been busy with training these days, and has already forgotten the encounter with Li Wen 7 days ago, and only remembered it at this time. "Oh, so beautiful Li Wen, what's the matter with you? I heard that the summer training of the Fiorentina club has started, and all the first-team players have returned to the team. I want to come in and shoot some videos of your training and do an interview with you." In fact, after Li Wen parted ways with Shi Xiaoyu that day, she did her homework and prepared an interview outline based on Shi Xiaoyu's experience of playing football in Waxia University and her growth education. Just before the start of the summer training, the training camp of the Fiorentina club was closed to the outside world, so she couldn't come in to interview Shi Xiaoyu. "Okay, no problem, I will report to the sports director of the team." After Shi Xiaoyu reported this matter to sports director Maluzzo was very happy. Because Daxia football country is a huge market, if Shi Xiaoyu's popularity in Daxia country can be used to open up this market, it will be of great help to increase the commercial value of the club in Daxia country. Signing Shi Xiaoyu can be said to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. On Frankie's training ground, Montella, a small plane, stood in front of the players with great energy. In Shi Xiaoyu's previous life, he had watched many Serie A matches in TV dramas, so he knew many Fiorentina players. For example, the veteran centre-forward, Toni. After becoming famous in Fiorentina, this strong centre was introduced by the Bundesliga overlord Bayern Munich with a lot of money. In his short Bundesliga career, he won the Bundesliga championship and won the small steel cannon that symbolizes the Golden Boot. After success and fame, Toni returned to Florence. Looking at the mature international player Toni, Shi Xiaoyu was worried about Veneto. With such a strong and experienced veteran in charge, centre Veneto may not have much playing time. And Shi Xiaoyu's competitors are mainly the right winger Cuadella. This player from Colombia, at this time Fiorentina has just shown his head and feet. After becoming famous, he was introduced by Juventus and became an important part of the team's right-sided offense. He scored important goals in the national derby many times. Shi Xiaoyu will compete with Cuadella for the main position. The challenges he faces are no smaller than those of Veneto. Episode 29. Want me to be Della's understudy? Although it has been retired for several years, the figure of the small plane Montella is still very good. The neat bangs are combed to one side, and the whole person looks very energetic, not losing any of the active professional players. "I know many of you, and of course you all know me." Montella smiled confidently and scanned the faces of everyone in the first team with his deep eyes. "There are also some people who even faced me face to face when I was not retired, and gave me a lot of fierce tackles on the court." Montella's humorous language made many players on the field amused by him. Especially the veteran defenders in their 30s in Florence who showed meaningful smiles. Now the opponent who focused on marking on the court back then has now become his own head coach. What a twist. Of course, this is the charm of football. Before we met, my assistant coach, a master tactician, had already shown you the initial style of play for the new season. This season, I will focus on pass and control play and control the ball at my feet, using the width of the court to mobilize opponents and open up space. Montella said while looking at Cuadella. "Cuadella, I know you are an extremely fast wide player. When our midfielder uses pass scheduling to open up space, once you get the ball, you must quickly advance to the edge of the penalty area and choose the opportunity to send it out. Deadly pass. Montella gestured on the huge tactical board and continued to say to the players. At the same time, when encountering strong teams like Inter Milan, AC Milan, and Juventus, we will adopt a defensive and counterattack style of play. This requires our wingers to be vigilant at all times. Once they get a chance to counterattack, if there is no room for passing and cutting, they must use their personal abilities to advance quickly and hit the ball into the opponent's half. Cuadella laughed while listening, and nodded proudly. Okay boss, I will definitely follow your request. The other Fiorentina players all looked at Cuadella with envious eyes. They are all players who have played in Serie A for many years, and they are well aware of the characteristics of Cuadella. This is a typical South American player, not only has good foot skills, but also is extremely fast, and can use his personal ability to make some incredible moves. Last season, the 23-year-old Cuadella scored 4 goals and 5 assists in the Lecce team known as the Serie A Pepper, which was quite impressive. Once a player's technical characteristics match the coach's tactical style of play, this player will definitely be reused. And players who continue to gain the trust of the coach also easy to obtain dazzling statistics. This will not only help the player increase his salary when renewing his contract, but also attract the attention of super teams, thus poaching this player. As a professional player, who doesn't want to get a higher salary, who doesn't want to play on a bigger platform, who doesn't want to win the league championship or even the Champions League championship? Montella smiled, and looked at Cuadella with trusting eyes. Our Italian players put too much emphasis on tactics, but not enough personal ability. I admire you South American players. Not only are you good at your feet, but you also have a lot of hard work. Praised Della, the coach praised himself again, the corners of his mouth raised to the sky, and his nostrils couldn't help but lift up. Shi Xiaoyu was silent at the side. He looked at the increasingly inflated Cuadella, and said to himself. You just wait, the new season starts, we want to take the main position from you. Montella said to Shi Xiaoyu who was standing at the farthest side of the team. You are the stone from Daxia, right? This season, you will serve as Cuadella's substitute. As a young player, you have to learn more from an experienced player like him. Remember, don't sit still on the bench, and observe his technical movements and running positions on the court. Cuadella raised her eyes more, glanced at Shi Xiaoyu, and showed a disdainful smile. Boss, leave it to me, I promise to teach it myself. Shi Xiaoyu said a few words of modesty and compliments, and then remained silent. He naturally knew that Cuadella from South America was not a good stubble. This player has a lot of tricks and plays dirty. Often make bright soul kicks at your opponents. Cuadella, who grew up on the streets of South America since he was a child, has also practiced a concealed foul method. He can always escape the referee's eyes and give heavy blows to the opponent's ankles and knees. Shi Xiaoyu looked down on such a player who would do anything to win. Okay, let's start training now. First team training has officially started. The training content is not much different from the reserve team that Shi Xiaoyu was in before. Still warm up and jog, and then start passing practice. After all, he is a player at the Serie A level. Shi Xiaoyu's passing skills in the reserve team before, although he still does not fall behind in the first team, it is not as conspicuous as before. The final group confrontation session. Shi Xiaoyu, as the youngest player in the first team, failed to wear the yellow vest this time. Instead, he played against the main players as a substitute. I must seize this opportunity and show myself well. Episode 30 Internal competition. Shi Xiaoyu and Cuadella have many conflicts. In the confrontation match, Shi Xiaoyu played the left winger, which happened to match up with Cuadella, who played the right winger. The main players of Fiorentina implemented Montella's deployment before the confrontation very well, and used conduction to widen the width of the court. The substitute players are limited by their skills and tactical awareness. They are like walking monkeys by the main players wearing yellow vests. They are exhausted, but they can't get the ball. Praise Della for getting more balls. Use your speed to move forward. Montella commanded off the field. Cuadella runs with the ball. It looks like a 12-cylinder super sports car. In an instant, he passed the first line of defense to defend. It's so fast, it's great. Montella was beaming with joy. Such a speedy player is exactly what he dreams of. At this time, Shi Xiaoyu arrived flatteringly. His zone defense task is to intercept Cuadella. Just block his passing line, and I'll help you defend from behind. Shout out to Shi Xiaoyu from the back left of the bench. This left back is ready for Shi Xiaoyu to be passed by Cuadella. He must hold the last line of defense. Cuadella looked at Shi Xiaoyu who was slowly approaching, and didn't care at all. Although Cuadella is only 23 years old, he has already played the main force in Serie A for one season. And Shi Xiaoyu is just an 18-year-old young player who has just been promoted to the first team. Whether it is strength or fame, it is difficult to compare with myself. Facing Shi Xiaoyu, Quadella didn't even make a fake move of pedaling a bicycle, but directly slid the ball forward to overtake with speed. The opportunity is here, Shi Xiaoyu thought to himself. He and Quadellado started almost at the same time. Exaggerating Della's speed is extremely fast. But just when he was about to overtake Shi Xiaoyu suddenly picked up his speed and got stuck. Quadella was so surprised. He didn't expect that this young player's speed was as fast as him, or even faster than him. As a South American player, he will not give up if he is too exaggerated. He used his habitual tricks. When he was in physical contact with Shi Xiaoyu again, he secretly gave Shi Xiaoyu's waist a hard push with his thumb. Shi Xiaoyu was caught off guard, her body staggered, and she almost fell. However, after the previous 7 days of hard training, Shi Xiaoyu's sense of body balance has been greatly improved. He quickly adjusted his pace and continued to catch up. Just when Quadella was about to break through the bottom line, Shi Xiaoyu rushed over, with his toes on the ground, and a standard sliding shovel came. The ball was scooped out of the baseline beautifully. And Quadella was overthrown by Shi Xiaoyu. According to the rules of the football game, if the tackler tackles the ball first, if he overturns the attacker, it is not a foul. This is a textbook perfect tackle. Beautiful, so beautiful. The left back on the substitute side couldn't help applauding Shi Xiaoyu. He was already ready to return to the penalty area to defend, but Shi Xiaoyu's speed was so fast that he even shoveled the high-speed running Quadella with the ball. Wow, where did this kid come from? He seems to be faster than that Colombian. In the substitute lineup, the 38-year-old goalkeeper couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Tony, the main player, has already locked himself in the penalty area, ready to meet Quadellado's cross, and shot from the top. Seeing that Quadella's pass was blocked by Shi Xiaoyu, Tony shook his head helplessly, expressing his incomprehension. At the same time, this battle-tested big brother also smiled and gave Shi Xiaoyu a thumbs up. What a beautiful defense, well done. When Quadella was passing the ball, his center of gravity had already been thrown out. After being overturned by Shi Xiaoyu, he rolled directly to the outside of the court. He got up angrily, pointed at Shi Xiaoyu and cursed. Hey, you silly boy of Waxia Kingdom, what have you done to me? Be careful not to hurt my ankle. He is very angry. Shi Xiaoyu, who was just his own substitute requested by the coach, actually made such a tackle on himself on the spot, which really embarrasses Quadella. The South American's aggressive and face-saving nature made him go forward and grabbed Shi Xiaoyu's neck with one hand. Shi Xiaoyu is not to be outdone either. His backhand is a slap, shouting on Dellado's face. Snapped. Quadella got slapped too much, and was a little dazed. He never expected that a rookie on the team would dare to fight back against his main player. The two sides are entangled, and the situation is about to escalate. What are you doing? Let me go. Montella, who was acting as a temporary referee, blew his whistle and hurried to the scene of the incident. Boss, did you see that? The slide shovel was so dangerous just now, I was almost abolished by him. Montella shook his head, frowned and said, just now Shi Xiaoyu made a standard tackle. Obviously, your speed is not as fast as it. How can you say that his action is dangerous? On the contrary, it was you. During the physical confrontation, you punched his waist with your fist. If you make such a small move, I have no problem with doing it to your opponent. Don't use it against your teammates. Montella looked at Shi Xiaoyu with admiration. You are not bad, you really have two brushes. Before I came, Agula, you sent me a message, saying that you were fast and good at dribbling. I didn't expect your defense and people to be so good. You were really comprehensive. Shi Xiaoyu touched the neck that was a little red from being strangled by Della, and kept smiling. After 2 lifetimes, Shi Xiaoyu is much more stable. On the court, he never disdained to fight rough with anyone. But if you are bullied to the top, you must not show weakness. Otherwise, you will be looked down upon and bullied. People are good at being bullied, and horses are good at being ridden by others, this is the truth.